Welcome to the Big Week in Gaming podcast. And what do you know? It's been a big week in gaming. I'm integot for episode 71 for Sunday, the 6th of March, 2022. Welcome back for the long hiatus. Another long hiatus. In this week's show, we'll be discussing our impressions of Elden Ring, Kirby, and Triangle Strategy, and also just catching up what we've been doing in our time off, what we've been... have we been traveling overseas, fighting any wars or anything like that? Swinny, how are you?
I'm good. We're not doing an intro song this week?
Well, we are, and I'm just going to also introduce Mike.
Play it while I'm talking. Just play it over me.
Yeah,
I got nothing important to say anyway.
Mike, I want you to share something very deep and meaningful. Go ahead. It's your time to shine. Go on, Mike. Say something. Say something deep and meaningful, Mike.
He's thinking.
This is what people have been missing for a month. Are you about to speak, Mike?
Yes! But I got nothing meaningful to say. Sorry.
As always, you can find our links in the description or all of our links at bigwigpod.com. Boys, it's been a while. It's been a long while.
Has been a while. I don't know. Has it been 5-6 weeks? I don't know.
It was all the month of February.
Oh.
I checked it.
But February has
we actually did like 5 or 6 podcasts in January. It was really bizarre.
Huh.
With our the Chemco tier list has been carrying us for that month of February.
After that, we're just too exhausted to do anything else.
It's true. That was a straight line. That's a good one. People were really resonating with that one. Yeah, and we've been promising this Chrono Trigger feature for like 6 weeks now, so we're not doing it in this show. We're doing it next week. I
We
think
should
there's
do
quite
a
a lot
plot
to cover.
twist where we just record it and then insert it in an old episode because it's a time dilation thing.
That's true.
And then
That's
we
true.
go, yeah, we did that. We did that like 3 months ago. You guys
That's
didn't pay
true.
attention.
And hey, do we have a correction, Swinny?
We do. It's been a correction I've had in the run sheet for over a month for the next episode that followed on from our Yoshi's Island feature.
Okay.
And it was a moment that happened in the show that I just let Mike run. Like, I let Mike finish his thought, and I'm like, no, that was wrong. Wait, what's he talking about? So, Mike, you went on a whole tangent about Yoshi's Island promoting gambling to kids, right?
Yes.
Which was a weird thing, but fair enough. But you mentioned that there was pachinko-style mini-games in Yoshi's Island, and I just want to correct, there are no pachinko mini-games in Yoshi's Island.
Well, how do you define pachinko?
Pachinko is like little balls, pinball game.
Oh,
Very
I thought
specific.
I
It's very
thought of
specific.
okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. I thought of
Yeah.
pachinko more as a colloquial term for the
No.
No,
those
it's very
machines in
specific.
general.
It's like Pokey Machine, right? Like that's
Yeah.
a very specific thing.
Yeah. So that's all. That's the only correction. I'm just like...
I should have said
Mike,
Pokey Machine.
I
then.
let Mike finish, but then I think the conversation went into another direction. I'm like, I'm just going to correct that next time.
But in
I
any
like he's
case,
been holding on for 6 weeks to correct.
6 weeks just for that.
Well, I
Wow.
haven't. It's not like I've had it in my
Man, get a
memory.
life.
It was already written. It was already written for the next episode that just
Okay.
kept getting
That's fair
delayed
enough.
week
All
to
right,
week.
I want to
week.
probe that. Is that true as a statement? Did you have it in your memory?
What do you mean?
Like if I asked you, did Mike make a mistake in the previous episode?
If
I
you
called
asked me, I would have recalled it, but it's not
then
like
it's
I'm
in
sitting.
your memory. You said it wasn't in my memory.
Okay, all right. I would say it's not like I'm sitting there every day, not being able to sleep at night
don't
because
know,
I'm
man.
like I haven't been able to correct Mike
don't
about the pachinko games in Yoshi's Island.
And
Okay.
before we get get too serious, I did want to shout out that like from a community perspective, there is a member not of our community, but like of the sort of gaming community, Crix. So this is a person who is a hardware engineer. I've bought a lot of stuff from him, and he does live in the Ukraine. And so I think we all sort of hope for a very speedy resolution to that situation, and that he's safe because it's pretty scary, I'd imagine. He's tweeting every now and then, but it just kind of brings that whole thing to life when you're actually talking about people I've reached out to and they've responded and everything like that. And it's like, wow, that's really crazy. But I mean, it's not a political show, so I don't really want to touch on that part of it. But obviously, as I said, we all want a very safe and speedy resolution there where there's no more bloodshed. So I'll park that and move on, I guess, to the banter and probably the key question. Like we skipped the month of February. And traditionally, January, February, there's like nothing going on then,
Nothing at all.
And we missed a few little stories, one being Sony buying Bungie. So, I mean, we're not going to labor it, but what were your reactions? Maybe start with you, Mike.
Don't care.
Don't care? Swinny?
Thank
podcast for a month.
Thank you for that detailed input into that topic, Mike. I appreciate it.
I had no reaction. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
So, well, the thing is, right, this is it makes sense in a lot of ways, but at the same time, it's still just bizarre because Bungie, while they've obviously been separated from Microsoft and Xbox for a long time, is still so intrinsically linked to the birth of the Xbox.
Yeah.
And for Sony to then essentially own the creators of Halo, and obviously they've created, Destiny and Marathon and all those other games, and Oni, which is a game I like, but it's still just bizarre. And it's funny that it was like 2 days after you had your one sexy pitch for how to save Sony.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's not about buying stuff. And then what does Sony go do?
And in the grand scheme of things, it's still like a tenth of what, or was the 20th?
Less than that, isn't it? About the 20th or something.
Of Activision Blizzard, and nothing like of the order. But it didn't make me laugh. But at the same time, and I kind of wish we did cover it, just because, like, to me, it's the weirdest acquisition deal I've ever seen in my whole like business career. Like, forget about gaming, just in total terms around business. The fact that they can make whatever games they want, they can publish to other platforms, and it's up to them. It's actually been published and said, it's totally up to Bungie. If they want to publish, they could publish theoretically something exclusively for Xbox. Like, the wording is very explicit that they can do whatever they want, right? And I'm just like, what the hell is this deal? This is like the weirdest deal of acquiring a company and then just like they can do whatever they want with their IP, and I don't know. It struck me as very bizarre. And like the last thing I just wanted to say on it was Bungie have the best commercial negotiators in the history of gaming. Like the fact that they're able to get out of Xbox, go independent, then go to Activision with the publishing deal. They had a 10-year publishing deal. Activision owned the rights to Destiny. Somehow, Bungie were able to extricate themselves from not only the publishing deal, but also take the IP rights with them and then get this billion-dollar deal with Sony and then have no obligations to do anything with Sony. It's so odd. Like, it's so odd. I don't know why it's so expensive, like, given that they don't have, like, exclusive control. It's strange, man. I think Sony must be just thinking, like, Bungie are going to be a powerhouse for their live service games. And, like, they're willing to pay the extra amount. If you go back with some of the biggest acquisitions that, like, Sony's done from a gaming front, stuff like, the technology that's powering PS Now, like, they spent like $1 billion or $500 million on that, like more than Insomniac.
Gaikai, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was more than an Insomniac game. So, yeah, like, I don't know. It honestly was the weirdest acquisition. Like, all the Microsoft ones make a lot of sense to me. They seem like expensive, but the Bungie one kind of relatively makes it seem not so bad in a weird way. Like, you think about what they're getting with Activision Blizzard versus Bungie, it's like Destiny. Like, that's it. Like, literally, they get nothing else with it. It's weird.
And the acquisition bandwagon's rolling on as well. There's lots of little acquisitions, and not so little acquisitions in the one Min For The Swin later as well.
Yeah, and I'm keen for that. And then the only other big one was like the Nintendo Direct that happened. Like, I think we were talking about live streaming it, and then I ended up getting COVID. That knocked me out for a few weeks. I've been so sick. I've had COVID. I had like a sinus headache the other week. I've got a cold now. Like, I've been through the wars in February.
Never have kids, people.
Yeah, and then torrential flooding in Sydney as well. It's so crazy at the moment. But we're much better off than other people, that's for sure at the moment. But yeah, the Direct was cool. Like, the only thing I wanted to shout out was, Switch Sports. I tried the gameplay demo. It's really, really cool. Definitely going to be like an instant party game for a lot of people. And I wonder how big it's going to be, just given that so much time has passed from Wii Sports that it's kind of like that nostalgic zone rather than being, oh, this is lame. So I could imagine it being pretty big, especially, post-pandemic and people kind of getting together more. And the Mario Kart announcement was really cool. Like, it's insane they're doubling the amount of tracks in that game. So
Watching everyone else's reaction to that news, everyone's like, "Oh, come on, that's ridiculous! Like, give us a numerica." And then when they announce how many tracks there were, everyone's like, "Oh, okay."
And it's a part of the subscription, like the plus subscription.
Because ultimately, like, that's obviously each Mario Kart brings gameplay changes and different feel and stuff, but getting essentially, like, the game already had so many courses, essentially getting a massive amount, obviously, you know, paid extra if you're not a subscriber and everything, but to get it for that amount if you're already a Switch Online Expansion Pass member is kind of wild. But there's, like, those games are all about the tracks, so the fact that they're adding so many, it's making me go, God, it's actually probably worth getting the Switch, the pass now. So
yeah, and you know, like, I think we criticize Nintendo a lot, but you know, you got to give them credit. They've improved the 64 emulation leaps and bounds, like, to a point where a lot of people are like, you know, it's probably one of the best ways to play Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and games like that. So, you know, you got to give them credit for improving a lot of those things. I've never actually played Majora's Mask, and now that they've improved the emulation, it's kind of like just the most logical place to play. I could play it on the 3DS, but then it's like, I don't like some of the changes they've made to that 3DS version, so I'll probably play it on the 64 emulation. So, I mean, like, there's a stack of news that happened, but they were probably the biggest ones that stood out that we definitely would have covered. But obviously, you know, we had like the month of February off randomly. So
yeah, like, even looking back, like the show that we'd had planned for that week that we ended up having to take the hiatus, you know, I think the only other thing was the Mina the Hollower, you know, the new Yacht Games game, which we mentioned we both kickstarted, and they're just sending constant emails.
Yacht Club Gaming, chill the fuck out. Like, I genuinely love Yacht Club Gaming. I like, dude, as soon as the Kickstarter came out, I was like, yeah, all on board. You know, I know a lot of people are like, why are they kickstarting it? They've got enough money. Just don't kickstart it then. Wait till the game comes out and buy it, right? Like, you don't need to kickstart it if you don't want to. But anyway, Swinny and I straight away went into it. But fuck me, they've like sent literally 14 emails in the space of like, what is it, a month?
Yeah.
It's like literally one every other day. It's like insane. Chill out, guys. Like, you got me. I'm on board. Like, I'd want to know something maybe once a week at most, not once every 3 days or 2 days. But it's looking pretty sick, the game. It's looking, but I kind of don't want to know anything about it. So I might start filtering my emails. It's like, I don't see the emails.
Well, you could probably, Kickstarter probably has a notification manage setting or something.
The setting, I actually checked it because they're emailing so much. I checked it and it's literally like, you get no updates or you get all of it. And I'm like, that is not helpful, because I'm worried that they're going to send an email. It's like, what platform do you want it on? You know what I mean? So I'm like, shit, like, I don't know. Maybe I'll just turn it off, and I'm assuming I'll read it on some gaming news site. So, but that's looking really cool. But it seems like it's far away. Like, they're scheduling it for like late next year. Maybe it'll come a bit earlier, hopefully. But yeah, no, it was actually a huge month in gaming for Feb. And then like the amount of games coming out as well in Feb, like, redonkulous, you know? So, and I, like, before we go to Mike, well, maybe part of that, like, none of us had got Horizon Forbidden West, right?
No, I thought about starting for
Zero
Dawn.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely not getting that sequel anytime soon. So
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know when I'm going to get to it, honestly. And maybe like I'll segue into one of the reasons why I'm not going to get into it for a moment. Mike, what have you been playing?
Elden Ring.
Surprise.
Same issue as you. I think getting. I want to play Horizon. Absolutely do. I love the first one, but I just, between that and a couple of other games that I'm going to mention, I don't know. There's just no time.
No.
So we'll do a segment on Elden Ring because both integot and I have been playing it. Swinny we're trying to get into, but he's trying to.
Well,
you'll talk about some of that other stuff that got in the way for you as well. So yeah, we'll talk about it in more detail. Very excited to talk about that one. I've also been playing another game called Infernax, just briefly. It's not on the run sheet, but
yeah, I know. Like, where is it? Yeah,
that was probably about two weeks ago that I played it. It's interesting. It's a very NES inspired or NES era inspired kind of game, with cool kind of little choices that you can make that alter the world and alter the kind of character that you become. I haven't completely finished it, but it's a really fun game. Highly recommended. It's on Xbox Game Pass, so you can play it for free if you've got that. Totally worth trying out.
And that game's it's actually gotten quite a good following on the internet as well. I think that it's just...
I'd see why. It's really cool.
It's not that it's doing anything revolutionary from what I can see. It's more that I think it just hit at the right time for people that were kind of just wanting a new kind of classic throwback Castlevania style arcade platformer, you know? So.
Yeah. I must admit, I wish it wasn't... I wish it was more of a SNES kind of game. It's maybe a little too... I wouldn't call it clunky or anything. It's quite refined for what it is. But I think it would have been super awesome if it actually was that one era later, if that makes sense, in terms of the animations and some of the things about it. And the last thing, because surprisingly in the last month, but actually I haven't played all that much, and most games that I played were only in the last 4 or 5 days, is Gran Turismo 7.
Yeah.
So grabbed myself a copy of that, because of course I had to. And look, so far it's exactly what you'd expect, for better or worse, mostly for better, because it's a solid game. But it does, I mean, it's kind of like when I played Horizon and I was telling you guys that everyone was blown away graphically, etc. But to me, it was just an evolution of the same game. There was nothing really necessarily fresh in the game.
What do you mean, Zero Dawn, or?
No, so as in Forza Horizon, when I was talking about that, and how it didn't really revolutionize the Forza Horizon game play.
I'm with you,
like
integot. I'm like, wait.
Yeah, that was a bit confusing.
Yeah, and then I was like, wait, I thought we all said that we didn't play
No.
Horizon.
So look, solid game. Absolutely. So I haven't played it a ton, as in I don't know how many hours I put into it, because it just came out, like 2 days ago or something. But what I do like is that it goes back to its roots, where unlike sport, that was very heavily focused on multiplayer and the online racing scene, this goes back to a proper single player campaign where you start off with, you know, a crappy little hatchback and you make your way through getting much better cars. I'm still at the crappy era of still driving hatchbacks and stuff, and getting my licenses.
Hey, there's nothing crappy about a hatchback.
No, nothing. Hey, I drive a Mazda 2 a lot of the time.
Not saying I'd want to drive a hatchback in a driving sim, but
rather than a Ferrari.
Rather than Ferrari, something, yeah. But I really love how it's gone back to its roots. I mean, I'm not going to go about how good the game looks and all of that, because it's quite obvious. But I think what's really cool is that it does have that proper solid single player campaign that I think a lot of people were craving, that they've been missing in the last few titles, where you start from scratch and you build stuff up, you customize your car, you slowly get introduced to the world map and all the different bits and pieces that you can do. And one of the cool additions is this cafe where you go and you effectively get missions, and they help you sort of, it's like quests, I would almost say, that help you decide where to go next and what to do in a more structured way. But at any time, you can pretty much go and race different cars and purchase cars and whatnot. So yeah, it's been good. Highly recommend it to anyone who just wants a game to jump into, jump out of. It's one of those games that I can see myself just playing on and off for the next 2-3 years or whatever until the next title comes out.
And how are you playing it? Because are you playing it with a steering wheel or?
No. So obviously I've got the steering wheel because I played sport with the steering wheel. Just the controller, which is really cool. So the triggers actually feel really nice. They definitely have that proper force feedback. They've also integrated motion sensing for steering,
like gyro, right?
Like proper, yeah, with the gyros, yeah, and it actually works extremely well. So I played that a little bit. I still, I guess, kind of prefer the traditional way of doing it, but at the same time, the gyro
like the
actually
wheel,
works really
or
well.
do you mean the sticks?
So just the no, I just use the sticks for steering.
So you prefer that over gyro?
Yeah, but at the same time, the gyro is actually really cool. That
I've heard people say really good things about the gyro.
Really cool.
That's what I was
man.
asking. Yeah, because people were saying that the gyro is amazing.
So I think I might actually go to the gyro eventually, just because it's fun.
So all those people, including members of my family that used to control Mario Kart,
exactly.
like this, they were all ahead of the curve.
Way ahead of the curve. I was playing and thinking of exactly that. I'm like, oh my god, now people can actually do that for reals.
Now a 3-year-old can play this game.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's probably it felt a little overly sensitive by default, but then I think that's because I was talking to a mate who's big in this game. The whole game feels like the cars have a little bit of oversteer compared to sport. So they've changed the physics engine, I think, quite a bit in that sense. Now, there's probably settings you can do to bring it down a bit, but it did feel a little overly sensitive. I didn't go into a lot of the options and stuff to check that. But anyway, that's highly recommend it for if you're a car lover. It's a must get if you've got a PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
What about you, Integot?
I'd love to try the controller, like just to see if that is an interesting way to play versus because I feel like you'd need to get a steering wheel with these kind of games.
Oh,
like when it's more like a sim
amazingly
game
with a steering wheel.
I think Forza Horizon it's better with sticks. But just with the more simmy kind of game, it feels like, I got to get a steering wheel. It's like too much. That's why I never got into it because it's like, oh my God, it's like a huge investment or something. But
it's not. I mean, look, the steering wheel itself, I think I bought for 300 and
pretty expensive
something bucks,
for
which is
one game.
Well, it wasn't just because I played a whole bunch of games on it, Drive Club, etc. On PC because it obviously works on PC as well. So did I get my money's worth? Probably not. But did I get my money's worth from an experience perspective? Hell yeah. The experience of using a steering wheel is freaking amazing, especially if you use because I've got the manual shifter as well, and because I think we were talking about this before because I drive stick. Using a proper clutch and using a stick on a game like this is
it's pretty sick.
It's amazing. It's awesome. It's so cool. And a proper TV. I've got a little stand where I can put the pedals and everything. So it's nice and solid. It's an amazing experience that I think is easily worth the $300. Given that if you go to one of those simulators, like in Port Melbourne or something, I think I went once. They've got an F1 simulator. It's $50-$60 a session for 30 minutes or something. So $300.
Do you know what would be crazy? Because we're going to cover this in Min For The Swin, but the PSVR 2 is coming out, let's say within the next 2 years, right? Because they're talking about so much. It's either going to be Christmas or like next year. It would be sick if they updated Gran Turismo 7 to have a VR mode. Because I actually watch a crazy amount of sim racing YouTube channels. Like, even though I don't have a wheel, I never actually play sim racing games, but
they'll probably add it. Sport had
maybe.
it, but it was limited.
Cool.
It didn't have the full experience in VR. So I played Sport in VR, I think with the steering wheel as well. Yeah. So the full works, and it is an incredible experience, even though PSVR 1 isn't, when you compare it to a lot of the stuff that came afterwards, it's not that great anymore. But it was still such a cool experience. Like, you're driving.
It's immersive, right?
Yeah. Super immersive, dude. Yeah. I'm driving the Miata, and I'm popping my head like this, and you literally look out the window of the car through the windscreen, and it's insane. It just feels so cool. It's one of the coolest experiences I had. It's nuts.
I think that's like such a you thing. It's such a Mike thing to like try to do something like that. Like, I was like that
driving down, but it's incredible. It felt awesome. It felt really, really cool.
You need to have like your girlfriend there with the fan. And as soon as she sees you stick your head out, she turns the fan on, so it feels like the wind's going in your face.
I've got videos of her playing it just with the normal controller with PSVR, and she was doing the whole thing with the controller, even though I wasn't doing anything.
Nice. Well, I'm impressed that you're actually playing other games other than Elden Ring.
Crazy, I know.
Yeah. So, like,
speaking of,
like, I've been playing Elden Ring as well. We'll cover that later. I've also been playing Triangle Strategy. Part of that, I will say, is kind of for the show. Like, I thought I'll play enough to get a bit of impressions. And same as Kirby, because the demo came out, and I'm like, okay, interesting. I'm gonna buy Kirby in the Forgotten Land, given that it's like highly ranked in my anticipated game. So I might as well play the demo, talk about it on the show. But that's it. I have not been playing any other games. Like, I was sick for most of February, and I was just like too sick to play games. Like, it was just like everything went dusty. But now that I'm feeling better. Yeah, no, seriously, my controller, my Switch Pro controller was like dusty. I was like, wow, this is crazy. But yeah, now that I'm feeling better, I'm definitely playing a stack of Elden Ring. And Swinny, what have you been playing?
So I weirdly actually have also not played as much as you'd expect me to. I've obviously played more than you from just looking at the list we've got ahead of us.
3 or 4 hours a night or something.
I've been back in the rut of watching Let's Plays of games that I love. So I've been watching
the Bloodborne expert.
So I've been now watching a lot of Metal Gear Solid Let's Plays all the way through. I've watched the guy play through the entire series and spin-offs and stuff. So it's actually made me. I've never actually played through number 5, so I'm actually thinking about starting that soon. But obviously, there's a lot on the plate at the moment, so I'm not going to hit that for a little bit. But
can I pause you for a second? I always love asking you streaming ideas because I know you're never going to do it. So it's quite amusing to me. But how amazing would it be if Mike and I were like reacting and commenting on you playing Bloodborne for the first time? I think that would be amazing because
I'd love to watch that.
like Swinny's pretending to be frozen right now.
Well, you said pause for a minute. So.
But I think that would be amazing. I think like it's you're very good at the Souls games and you've watched so much Bloodborne. It would be funny if you actually just dominate the game from the start. That's a good idea, Swinny. You have to admit.
I have the advantage of knowing where good stuff is
That's what I'm saying.
versus blind players. But
Yeah.
at the same time, yeah, like I don't think streaming from my console setup at the moment is not exactly something I'd want to do. So,
Oh, but you're open to it. It sounds like you're open to it.
so the games I
'cause it's
have
in your
been playing,
bedroom? I'd love to watch
they're
that.
they're in different areas of the house. So yeah. So what I have been playing, so I caved in and did my replay of Fatesworn, the DLC for Kingdoms of Amalur.
No, you can't.
I just said, bugger it. I'm just going to play through the whole thing again. Did a speed run.
Give the context
Wow.
to the people.
Yeah,
So-
remind us.
So I played about a month and a half ago. I played through Fatesworn, the DLC for Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning, and there's an achievement for completing all the quests in the game, the side quests and the main quests in the DLC. And that was probably like 15, 20 hours expansion. You know, I took my time and everything was fun. And it glitched out on me. It's well-known glitches where if you handle a quest in a certain way, it doesn't count that you've completed it. So I'm like, okay, I'll just wait to see if they patch this. But honestly, as the weeks went on, I'm like, I just don't have confidence that they're going to patch it in a way that would just unlock for people that have actually met the criteria. So I said, bugger, I'm just going to play through it again. So I did like a bit of a speed run through the DLC. It took me probably about 7 hours, maybe 7-8 hours, and finished it up. So that's it. So that was one of the things I played.
You have a true sickness, Swinny. You played through the whole game, 7 hours, just to get the achievement.
But the thing is, the good part about Kings of Amalur, it means I got to play with different weapon types.
Yeah,
and stuff
true.
Through the replay. So the next game I have on my list is actually a game called The Order 1886.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
this is
game
cool.
Okay.
game
heard.
from about 7 years ago that was
a
very
launch
mixed,
game, right?
very mixed reviews. If it wasn't launched, it was very damn close to launch for PS4. And goddamn, that game is gorgeous. It's
It
one of
actually
the-
still looks really good,
it's
doesn't
one
it, to
of
this
still,
day?
yeah.
I play it now and I'm like, this looks better than most next generation, like current gen PS5 and Xbox Series X games I've seen. It looks so gorgeous, and the game's running at 30 frames, and it's got like the black, whatever they call it, the black bars on the top and bottom. But weirdly, I don't hold this view, but you know the whole view about games at 30 frames are more cinematic, right? That whole thing, right? I don't have.
What a maniac would think that.
I don't hold that view, but if I did, this is the game that I'd use as it, or one of the games I'd use as evidence, because it does definitely, like, it's weird. It's running at 30, but it has a certain feel to it. Like, I had to check. I'm like, is this game actually running at 24? Like a movie? 'Cause it felt very movie. It's not. It's running at 30.
30. Yeah,
but,
they announced that
yeah.
before the game came out.
Yeah, so basically, so I'm playing through a whole bunch of PlayStation games I missed as part of my PlayStation pile of shame resolution.
Yep.
So this was the next one I had on my list, and I knew it wasn't a long game. It was about 7-8 hours, so I was happy with the length. Honestly, the game at first, I'm like, it took a lot to sell me on it because it feels like an interactive movie a lot of the ways. It's got lots of QTEs and things like, like interactive button presses, and some of the boss fights just feel like you're just essentially in a cutscene. But it did win me over. Like it does. I really like the world and the characters, and it is a shame that the game will never get a sequel. It just won't.
It literally, this is the funny thing. Googling it, it definitely wasn't a launch game. People criticizing it, saying it looks like a launch game. It only came out about a year after the PS4 came out in 2013, late 2013. But they are actually saying that a sequel is in the works for PS5.
So I've read some of
Cool.
those stories, and
Yeah.
a lot of them don't.
True.
They don't
Okay.
sound that
Just
credible.
leaks.
But
Okay.
look, it could. I'd love it. But the thing is, the game, like, I think that game would have had a sequel by now already.
Yeah.
Plus, if now obviously I'm assuming Sony own the IP, but Ready at Dawn now work for, I think it's Oculus. So anyway, so developers have moved on. They're not with Sony. They don't work on Sony stuff anymore.
Okay.
So The next one is
Mystery
this
game.
time for my mystery game?
mystery
Okay.
game.
Are we allowed to guess what it is?
You're not gonna. We're gonna be here forever if you
Yeah.
do this.
Okay,
So
fine.
this was actually a game I played before we went on a hiatus, but it just didn't fit into any of the banter. Like it just felt weird to do it. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to talk about it now. So there's been a lot of talk about mobile games recently as part of these acquisitions and everything. And on the show itself, we've said we're not into that world.
Candy Crush.
So
Please
I
don't
said,
say Candy Crush.
so
Candy Crush.
as part of me trying to branch out and learn a bit more about the industry, I installed Candy Crush Saga.
Oh my god.
And I guess
And
by
what's
the way.
funny, and what's you did, and what's
That's
funny
an
is
amazing guess, by the way.
what's funny is Mike was talking about Candy Crush Saga like that week that I chose not to talk about it. I'm like, Anyway, what I wanted to do was install it and see how long I could last before the monetization pushed me away, right?
I want to uninstall you as a friend.
Okay.
Jeez.
Now, one thing about this, I actually really like match 3 games.
Yeah, so do I.
I used to play a lot of Bejeweled games and stuff like that, and ones like that. So I'm like, okay, how bad can it be, right? So I install it, I still load it up, and I'm like, this game, the game feel and like the game moment-to-moment gameplay is actually good, right?
We've lost him.
It's actually
Wrong.
you actually play it when you start it for the first time. You're like, this game's actually not bad, but what they do when they slowly seep in the systems around monetization, I uninstalled it about the 30-minute mark of playing that
pretty quick,
game.
actually.
I'd already uninstalled it because as soon as then they start talking about the whole energy and life
Buy
systems, and you're
jewels.
like, oh, okay, all right. I
Get
thought
the
if I
fuck
thought
out of here.
if I was good enough, I could just keep playing.
No,
But
no.
no. So what I wanted to then do as a palate cleanser is actually find a good match 3 game that did suit my needs. And that is the next game I'm talking about, which is called You Must Build a Boat.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
So this is a game I'd actually heard about a long time ago, but I'd forgotten about. And when I was researching what's a good match 3 game that's not free to play, that doesn't have monetization, that you can just literally buy for a couple of dollars and that's it. And this was showing up at a lot of the top of people's lists. This game's actually really, really fun. So basically, it keeps reminding you, you must build a boat, like when you complete levels and stuff. So basically, start with a small boat, you build up, you get like shops and new people joining it. And it's just fun. And between, you upgrade your character, but then you go on these missions that are essentially, as you see in the B-roll on YouTube, match 3 missions where you're fighting through enemies in dungeons and stuff. And it's just fun. It's just fun as a casual game to play when, I'm just lying down for a rest or something, really, really fun. It's got a campaign. I beat the campaign. So, yeah, that was it was a good way to cleanse the stench of the Candy Crush from my life.
And you were playing this on PC or mobile?
No, I was playing it on mobile. So
That's funny.
The
'cause
proper experience.
I also played...
it's on Steam. So
Yeah, no, I saw that it was on Steam. But it was just funny because I also played a mobile game, which is something I never ever do. I was playing
tell us.
Mario Kart Tour because
how is that these days?
it's just I actually really like Super Mario Run. I'll defend that game. I think that was a good game. It's not great, but it's like arguably better than some of the new Super Mario Brothers games. But Mario Kart Tour is just like it's so rough, man. It's so like I just can't abide by it.
It just feels
really annoying.
dirty, doesn't it? It just feels
Yeah.
dirty. Like this isn't right.
It's way too much monetization in the game, and then also just the controls. Like this is one thing about Mario Kart because like part of it is like I'm slowly getting through all the Mario Kart games, including the arcade ones, to do a tier list. The only one I'll miss out on is the VR game, but there's only like 4 sites in the. Actually, I'm probably going to Japan this year. So I'm going to hold off on this tier list. I'm going to play Mario Kart VR. Then I can fucking say I played every single Mario Kart game.
Why don't you do the tier list and
No,
just add
no,
it to the
no.
tier list?
No,
No,
because
he's
then I
gotta do
can
the
say
chat,
I've
yeah.
played every fucking Mario Kart game. You come at me.
I'm coming at you because you lazy bastards haven't done your own fucking tier list. So I'm the one doing
He's
the
doing
tier
one.
list.
He's doing one. Wait,
I'd struggle because I'm thinking, what series can I even do the tier list on? Like,
he's doing one.
Mike should do a Forza tier list or something where you played
Yeah.
everything.
I haven't played every single game of like series. Like it's just not my thing.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but anyway, yeah, the game's rough. The game's rough. But it was just weird that you played that and then I also played that because we're not mobile gamers. Mike,
No.
you didn't play any mobile games, did you?
No, hell no.
I mean, we
Well, I
played
should say
Wordle.
hell
I
no.
guess
They're
it
not all
counts.
that bad. I think the last proper mobile game I played was, what was that really graphically good looking game? The not
Genshin
medieval, like,
Impact.
no, that fantasy.
You're not talking about
medieval-
Infinity Blade, are you?
Yeah, something like
What?
that. Yeah.
How good am I at guessing tonight? This is
Yeah.
like
No, I was
Yeah.
thinking Infinity Blade as well, but I'm like, no,
Yeah, that one.
it's not like the game that's like 10 years old or something.
Yeah, that
is it?
one.
That
was
is the reason
literally,
why
I
we
think,
don't have
the
Shadow
last
Complex
time I
2.
played a mobile
Fuck me.
game.
That's the reason we don't have, and you can't even download that game anymore.
Now, I will have. I've got a bit of a recommendation.
Good guess. By the way.
I don't know if you guys know about this, but there's an app called Mini Review. And what that is, it has reviews of mobile games, but the good part is you can say, okay, I only want to see games that are like premium, as in you purchase them,
Okay.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they're offline, so you don't have to have a server connection. Like, so you can actually say, okay, show me all the good stuff and give me alerts when there's games that fit this kind of criteria. So Mini Review is a pretty cool app. So I'm not sponsored, by the way.
And the last thing we this has become the mobile
No
gaming
games on my phone
podcast,
at all.
but you know, I know that you're not an Apple fan, Swinny, and I criticize them a lot, but the Apple Arcade service is actually legitimately decent. Like they have it so there's no monetization, there's no DLC. It's just you subscribe. I don't know how much it costs. It's pretty cheap, and the games like I did it for free, a free trial, and I'm like, I don't play mobile games, but if I did, I'd definitely get this because it's like pretty decent games that go on there.
The Google version of that's not that great, but it does have Stardew Valley, so I did
Yeah,
try a bit of
that's
that.
pretty
But I'm
decent.
like,
That would
I
be
just
cool,
didn't.
actually,
I
yeah.
didn't like Stardew with mobile controls
Nah.
at all. So, all right,
All right, and let's
so a
talk about
couple
the
more
reason
games.
why you're not playing Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Yes, so
It's amazing to me.
The reason why I've yet to start Elden Ring, it's actually, you can't see it in this view, but I've got the collector's edition up on the shelf there. So I have Elden Ring.
And you're a
and I've-
passionate fan.
He does. He
of
bought
this
the
got
collector's edition, no less, for
the,
$380.
The
He's got his
statue
waifu
here.
statue.
I don't know who this is. I'm sure that I'll find out when I eventually play.
I have no idea, and I've put 40
Yeah,
hours
I
into
know.
that game.
Same.
So, this week saw the release. This week saw the release of one of my most anticipated games. Which is ELEX 2.
The Elden Ring Crusher Destroyer.
All right, Mike, let me explain this game, please. So
Yes.
this game, it came out on Tuesday, and it's the latest game from Piranha Bytes. So they're famous for the Gothic series and the Risen series. So essentially, like European RPG developers, and you could say these guys are the kings of Eurojank. Like if you say Eurojank, Piranha Bytes is the people.
They're
the developer,
synonymous
the people
with it.
think of them, and for good reason. Like the games have a feel to them that like they don't feel quite right, but the best part, the good part about their
Like
games
me.
though, is
Yeah, Mike
Is
is
it-
Eurojank.
You're a jack, baby.
Yeah.
Ain't quite right.
quite right. If you're into RPGs and exploring like an open world that's like crafted with the very narrative and choice focused and everything, like these games have a lot to offer because they're just fun. They're not. They're definitely B games, but they're fun.
It's got a jetpack. I mean, come on.
It actually looks really cool.
So I've basically, knowing that this game was coming out on Tuesday and the Elden Ring was coming out on the Friday before, I said, well, if I start Elden Ring, I'm going to get stuck into it. And then
Yeah.
I really wanted to, honestly, ELEX is the kind of game, or ELEX 2 is the kind of game that I felt more like playing at the moment, like that style of RPG. I was just, sometimes you're in the mood for a certain style of game.
I'm not gonna lie, but I want to play this. There's something
So-
about this that I actually really want to play.
So basically, what I did is I said, "Look, I'm not going to start Elden Ring. I'm going to start ELEX, and if it gets its claws into me, then I get stuck playing that. Then I'll see how I go when I actually start Elden Ring." And the unfortunate part is, I haven't actually had that much time or have been in the mood to play that many games this week in general. So I've only put about maybe 5 hours into it since it came out. So, which for me is that's pretty low considering it came out like 5 days ago or something. So,
An hour a day.
but I'm enjoying it so far. But I'm very early on. I'll give my thoughts once. Oh, there's one thing I want to say. It's honestly, it's not really spoiler because you find it right at the start of the game. But I was in like this one of the first main camps you come to, and then I hear on the radio they're talking about a Billy Idol concert. and then it gives me a quest. I'm like, oh, that's weird. It must be something where
on the radio in the game.
It must be something where there's like some guy calling himself Billy Idol. So I rock up to this like amphitheater in the game. There's an actual Billy Idol concert in the game with a song that I think he recorded for the game.
But doesn't
awesome.
that feel very immersion breaking?
Oh, well, the thing is, it's not the first time. So there was a Blind Guardian concert in Sacred 2 that was really weird as well. But that felt very appropriate because Blind Guardian are all about like fantasy, Lord of the Rings style. This just felt like, why is Billy
That's what I
Idol
mean.
in this?
Like,
It's really weird. So anyway.
For people that aren't initiated in the ways of the ELEX, I'm not initiated in the ways of the ELEX. It's a...
Is it ELEX? Well, how do you say it?
ELEX.
Yeah,
ELEX.
ELEX. That's what I thought.
It's set in a, from my understanding, a fantasy world with magic, but also sci-fi.
Is it high fantasy or dark fantasy?
I would say no. It's more like a post-apocalyptic world that then has sci-fi and some magic to it as well. So, but it's more like when you're exploring the world, it looks more like a Fallout than it does a fantasy game.
Oh, okay.
So it's Fallout with Mass Effect and...
Because the ruins in the game are like broken down factories and silos and things like that.
So they have taken Fallout, mixed it with Mass Effect and Dragon Age, basically.
Fallout's more like post-nuclear wasteland. This is more like, everything's overgrown, shrubbery, and like people don't know the old technology and stuff like that. So it's more like probably more closer to Horizon Zero Dawn than Fallout, honestly. So
it's a pretty long game. It's going to be like because you're going to 100% it, right? So it's going to be like an 80-hour type game, ballpark.
Yeah, it's going to take a while.
It's a bit of a gamble doing that, because I feel like with Elden Ring, there's a good chance that all the achievements are achievable. Whereas with ELEX, I feel like you might put 70 hours into it and then realize one of the achievements broken.
Honestly, I don't...
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, I was confused by what you were saying there for a second.
I've never had a broken achievement in a Piranha Bytes game, so I trust them. All right, so the last thing I want to get to, I didn't realize it take too long to get to.
No, that's fine.
This is fascinating. I love hearing this.
Fine. We're going to go for 3-5 hours or something.
Was another game that I played a lot, probably the game I played the most the last few weeks, is Kitaria Fables. So this game was on special and I picked it up. It's a game I've had my eye on for a while. It came out around mid last year. So this is like a top-down action RPG mixed with a life sim. So basically it's like mixing Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley with a traditional action RPG.
And you're a cat?
You play as a cat, and you can make your cat. You can make your cat look a certain way. And the thing is, the characters they also don't look like weird. You know, the whole anthro thing can look weird sometimes.
Why the fuck did you tell me about this earlier?
It looks a little furryish.
Mike. No, it's fine. Mike, I did tell you about this game, by the way.
Oh, okay.
All right. I said, Mike, you should
Why don't you make sure that I understood?
You should try out Kitaria Fables, Mike. Like, okay.
Oh, actually, no, you're right. And you did send a video about it. I remember now, where you were dodging this
and you sent a code as well.
And you sent me a code and a walkthrough. Oh, that's right. I put 40 hours into this game.
That looks super furryish. What are you talking about?
Look, it's a bit furry, but I just want to play as a cat with a sword.
That's probably the worst character. I would say. All right. So this game's actually a pretty popular game. There's a lot of people that love this game online, especially in the Switch when it got Switch release. It's actually made by a developer called Twin Hearts, a very small developer actually from Indonesia. So
our neighbor, our nearest neighbor.
Yeah, exactly. So
I didn't support people.
I did not know that until I looked it up just prior to the show. So that's good to know.
Awesome.
I did not know Indonesians are into furries. That's quite interesting.
I think this is a really good game. If you like anything like Stardew, you'll probably really like it. It's not that bad. Don't worry. It's not a furry game. Don't worry about it.
I don't care if it is. I just want to play as a cat.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
It's God, like something of Star Fox Adventures is way worse.
Yeah, indeed.
Actually, that's right.
I just wish the things I say about the game is I wish the RPG elements were a little bit deeper, and grinding for certain materials that you want for crafting from some enemies can be a little tiresome, but other than that, I think it's really good. I haven't finished it yet. I really recommend it, especially if it goes on cheap. Kitaria Fables, if you like Stardew and your action RPGs,
and Diablo,
I think you'll like it.
Basically, awesome.
Kind of like it.
Kinda.
I like how he adds to your recommendation on a game.
I know.
Fucking idea.
Sorry, I should have said Diablo.
Diablo.
Was in the question Diablo?
All right, so we have no news this week because we deemed it non-material enough that we had something powerful to talk about. We're not
Game-wise, anyway.
Pokemon fans. We don't have a Steam Deck. Gabe, when are you actually going to release it in Australia? Two of us are going to buy it.
We also know you guys are just going to probably talk for ages about Elden Ring. So we're like, you know what? For the
It's
comeback
true.
show, let's just talk. Let's just catch
true.
up and give an impression. This trio of impressions.
Depends, man, because I don't want to spoil anything, so there might not be that
Well, we
much
don't need to spoil it, but we will do one min for the Swin. Very jam-packed one min for the Swin. It's going to be interesting. Swinny is not practiced because we haven't done it for a month. And he's got 186 words, so we've been monotonically increasing the word count. And we're up to 186 now.
Monotonically.
Yeah,
I've
monotonically.
never heard.
Do you know what that word means?
I've
Very
never heard that
impressed by
word.
that word.
It means
What does it mean?
a number that, like in a series, that increases and never goes below the prior set of numbers.
But that's wrong because we have gone below once.
What? When did you dip below?
When it was a quiet week, remember?
Oh, did you actually put the words? Like, did you have
Cheater.
less
Yeah, it
words?
was like
You
120 words or
Ah,
something.
disgusting.
You
Get off
you
the
have
show.
you have a very short
Horrible.
you have a short memory. You need to
do.
recall things.
The way I do, stuff goes in and then I go, it's all pointless. Throw it all out.
See,
Apart from Elden Ring knowledge.
I am amazing at retaining pointless information, but
True.
not retaining useful information.
I agree. I agree with that sentiment. So as always, when Swinny kicks off, I'll put the timer on. He could start at any moment.
Okay. Street Fighter 6 has finally been officially announced by Capcom, alongside a new compilation called the Capcom Fighting Collection. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have been announced for the Switch. Valve have revealed Aperture Desk Job, a small free game set in the Half-Life universe. Inen Games have announced a classic Wonder Boy collection for PS4 and Switch. The headset for the PlayStation VR 2 has been revealed. The Wii U and 3DS Nintendo eShops will shut down in March 2023. Evo have announced that Nintendo won't allow Smash Brothers for this event's 2022 lineup. Cyberpunk 2077's long-awaited next-gen 1.5 patch has been unleashed. Returnal Studio Housemarque's next game will be a brand new IP. Nintendo has acquired longtime partner studio SRD. Epic Games has acquired music platform Bandcamp. Nacon have acquired Deponia and Lord of the Rings Golem studio Daedalic Entertainment. And Platinum Games are open to being acquired and bringing back Scalebound. Nintendo have added missions and rewards features for Switch Online members. Bethesda Softworks will retire the Bethesda.net launcher this year, and a Nier Automata TV anime series has been announced from Aniplex Studio.
Oh, this is going to take forever to get you out of this.
Well
done.
done.
Hey, I've got
Very
a
good.
correction, an instant correction.
Okay.
Valve has revealed Aperture Desk Job, a small free game set in the Portal universe.
No,
not the
well,
Half-Life
no.
universe.
Okay, so I had originally had, see, I'm going to correct your correction in the sense that I had Portal slash Half-Life, but I'm like, I need to cut down the words one. And when basically, I mean, I'm going to take the primary game series, like the first series, it's all set in the same universe. Portal and Half-Life set in. No, they are. They're set in the same universe. They're actually, a lot of people call the universe the Aperture universe, but because I already said the word Aperture, I just said I'm just going to say Half-Life instead of Portal and Half-Life. So
There's no way if you reduced it to either Half-Life universe or Portal universe, you would ever say it's illustrative of saying Half-Life universe versus
get
Portal
over it,
universe.
man. Get over it.
No, I'm correcting your correction of me.
No, but the thing is, I went to put that in. I'm like, well, I need to cut the words. Like, you got to make this punchy. You got to
Portal
make
universe,
it quick.
Portal universe, bang.
No, it's all the Half-Life universe.
No, that's crazy.
It's all the
I'm
Aperture
I'm
universe.
excited about VR, PlayStation VR too. Do you think you're gonna get one, Mike?
Yeah.
Oh, you are. But
Yeah,
I've got
absolutely.
a price
I should
limit
probably
though.
sell
I'm
one.
worried it's gonna be like $750.
That much.
Yeah, I've got no
Maybe
idea.
now is a good time to sell my current PSVR that
Yes.
seems to be worth a lot more for some reason, including move controllers.
Oh,
Like
yeah, the
$200
Move
or something.
controllers are worth a fortune.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that, Swinny. These Move controllers are ridiculous.
And I've got the gun attachment.
Yeah, you should
I've
sell that
got-
shit, dude.
oh, God,
Seriously.
I've got
Because the
the
Move
works
controllers
and
are
I
gonna be
haven't
pointless
used them much.
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not
Unless you
gonna
have
play it.
an original PSVR, but yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get into our impressions. I'll zip through the first set and then we'll jump into Elden Ring. But first up, it's my impressions of Kirby The Forgotten Land demo. So I'll just, where are we up to? So we're here. So
This looks pretty.
Kirby was, on my top 5 list of anticipated gaming related things for 2022. And if you actually look through it, my number 1 is the Mario movie. Super keen to see that. I'm interested in it. Number 2 is the Steam Deck from memory, which doesn't seem like it's going to come out in Australia this year, which is a huge bummer. But number 3 is Kirby. So Kirby is actually my number one video game anticipated of this year. So the demo came out. I didn't know the demo was coming out, but I'm like, okay, I'll check that out for the show. So from a graphics perspective, this is the best that Kirby's looked. I've played a few entries in the series, my favorite being Planet Robobot. And this is just like, you know, they're actually heavily invested. You know, it looks gorgeous. You know, you can see it on the B-roll if you're checking out the video clip. And check out like gameplay on YouTube. It looks awesome. It sounds awesome. And one thing I really do want to shout out is the character design in this game is amazing. So I won't spoil the first boss, but the first boss is just like, it looks so awesome. The moves, it actually was just like, wow, they've actually spent a hell of a lot of time in this game, you know, like making it just look, you know, so perfect within the sort of Kirby universe. So like with that all said, I went through the whole demo, played it on the quote unquote harder version, and I absolutely hated this experience.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so I went from like, I was gonna just pre-order this game, like just pre-order it, okay, whatever, and it comes, and playing this demo, I'm like, there's no chance I'll play this game. And
Dude, you should send an email. That's weird. Wow. You got to send an email to M. Night Shyamalan because that is just the biggest plot twist I've seen in recent memory.
And look, like I'll defend everything I said. Like the character design's awesome. You can see on screen the graphics are awesome. For like the fact that it's running on an Android phone converted into a gaming console, it looks freaking cool. It looks really, really gorgeous. But like I know Kirby games are easy, but this is like outrageously easy. And it's a strange thing, but I don't know why I thought this. And I'd probably shout out to you, Swinny, but I kind of thought it was like more going to be like an open world-ish. Like,
so it's funny. I've seen that comment before.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm not saying it's one of the things where you look at all the footage and I think the first trailer they showed looks like that, but then everything else they've showed to me looks like what it is.
Yeah,
so
fair.
it's like,
and maybe that's partly my fault and their fault,
but I think if that's if that first trailer probably left the biggest impression on people originally, so I think that's probably why there's that people might think that.
So it's not like Mario Odyssey kind of thing. You mean
not
less
at all?
Open?
Not at all. Right? So the reference point for this game to me is Mario 3D World, right? So very like linear, structured, very much like Super Mario 3, but like turned into a 3D platformer. And like it wasn't my impression from the clips, and I don't like to overwatch the clips because it's sort of like I want to be surprised when I play it, right? And I was surprised by this game, but not in a positive way. But so you know, I'm playing through it, and I'm like, this is so. Like, and you know, I'm a big defender of linear games. Like, I've said this many times. I feel like people just almost like take the word linear as it's bad. Like, a linear game is a bad game. But this game is so boxed in and the guardrails are so tight of what you can do. There's like almost no optionality in the level design. And I played all of the first 3 levels and got everything, all the hidden secrets and all that stuff. It's not that hidden. And it's just like, it's claustrophobic, this game. And I get like... primarily this game is for kids, right? But to me, and we'll touch on like games that are too hard and games that are too easy. I'm sure it's going to come up in Elden Ring discussion, but like this game is just way too easy for like, I can't see myself, like I just can't see an adult, like I shouldn't say this, but like, I just don't know, like I can't enjoy this game. It's just ridiculously easy. It's no challenge at all. And you know, one thing is like, you know, even with relatively easy games, you feel like you have hurdles that you overcome and they're just like easy hurdles. But this is just like, there's nowhere else you can go. Like everything is just so patently obvious of what you need to do. And I know that like maybe there's like a bit of a curve. So maybe later it becomes more difficult. But from everything I've seen, it definitely doesn't seem like that. And, you know, like just going into like the game feel, as soon as I started playing it, I tried to move the camera and I'm like, oh shit, there's like no camera. Like the camera is like, it's like a literal camera from like Mario 64 where if you move the camera, the right analog stick to the left, the camera will move to the left, right? So it's like the opposite of all your instincts. And it's only like 10 degrees or 15 degrees. Like it's no free range movement. And I don't really know why. Like, I went through the settings. I'm like, why can't I just move the camera around? And I think it's just because it's so structured and it's so, like, you know, like it's all sequenced. Like they kind of know where the camera's going to go. And that's where it's like very much like Mario 3D World. But my biggest call out is Mario 3D World had a lot of, you know, optionality in the level. You could go off to harder parts. You could go straight through to the end. Like it felt more dynamic about what you're doing. And yeah, I was just like super disappointed with this game. Like I'm so glad I played the demo because like quite literally I was just going to pre-order it. And then now it's like, I won't. And you know what? It's kind of like the pro and con of doing a demo. Like I looked at the demo going, well, this shows how like confident they are in the game. That the demo's out already and the game's coming out in like 3 weeks. But, and like maybe it's my fault, but I guess the game is just so targeted at kids. Like for that, like it makes perfect sense. Like I actually think this is an awesome game. And the benefit of it having a demo means that I would definitely recommend this to people who like have kids who are like 5, 6 years old who are into gaming. And it's like, okay, try the demo. If they click with it, I think it's an instant buy, right? But yeah, just for me, like it went from like, yeah, I'm super looking forward to this to being like, nope, I'm definitely not playing.
That's a shame.
Also, was it around the time that you'd also started playing Elden Ring? I'm just thinking the change between the two.
No, but like it's got nothing to do with that. Like if anything, like I was kind of going, oh, this is cool because like Elden Ring is like not as bad as like I don't want to go too much into it. But
you were in Elden Ring mode. Let's just admit it.
No. It was more like this was going to be the, you know, the spritzer. It's like, oh, this is going to cleanse the palate. It's going to be chilled. Like I was looking for that experience, right? But it definitely wasn't. It was like, oh my God, it's just too restrictive, this game. And I still feel like they could have made it a little bit more free. Like even if you're looking at the B-roll footage, it's inviting you to kind of explore the world, but then it's just so on rails that you just can't. And there's, like I said, the biggest thing that annoyed me about it is it's kind of so obvious what you need to do in this game. And it kind of go back to the thing. It's really made for kids. And not saying like people who are older than that can't enjoy it, but it's just like, yeah, there's no challenge here. So
I mean, the original Kirby games, you could just fly over 90% of the levels anyway. So
yeah, but it's interesting. From the start of playing Planet Robobot, like I enjoyed it. Like I didn't beat that game, but I played most of that game, and I was like enjoying it. Like it's that again is not a hard game, but there's kind of dimensionality to that game. Like there's secrets to actually find, and they're not super simple to find from the start. Whereas this game, like from the start, it's so straightforward where you got to go and the secrets and all this other kind of stuff. So
that was a cool secret.
That was a cool secret. I was going to say that.
What are you talking about?
I'm happy for you guys to buy this game.
What the hell, man?
You guys can buy this game and go for it.
Well, tell you what, I feel like watching this game, this is 100% right up my alley, right up the alley of my girlfriend. She.
Can I just say, that may be one of the most poorly worded sentences in the history of the English language. Like, the show's obviously going to be called Girlfriend Alley.
So what I'm trying to say is that she liked Mario Odyssey, but then there were certain parts that I think were a little too obscure for her.
Maybe, yeah.
She wanted some more linearity to that extent, whereby I think this might actually be exactly what she's into. So,
and like,
I'm gonna see. I'll get to play the demo.
Exactly, that's the great thing about the demo. And like I was saying before, all the character designs, the art, it's amazing. Like I think it's unreal. It's just a bit of a shame. Like I wish that like there was an ability to make it a bit harder and a bit more expansive. And I think it could serve both audiences pretty well. Because there's no reason why, you know, like kids or anything like that won't, you know, like veer off the normal path, like for the optional stuff. So
I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo do patch in a more challenging mode eventually. It just feels like they're doing
it though. That's the thing. Like,
but I think like I just feel like they, you know, they did something with Dread like that, and I know it's a different audience, but I just feel like they might do it for this one.
The Dread mode is like harder than like Dark Souls. Like one hit and you're dead. Like, have you seen? I don't know if you saw that, Mike. But that mode is like it's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, that's my impressions of Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I will not be buying it. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. Let's move on to the next impressions, which is, I'll just go into this view first.
Hexagon.
No, not hexagon. It's
Tactics.
triangle strategy. So I spent some time, about 5 hours, with Square Enix's latest HD 2D title in the, I think, very expansive soon series of HD 2D titles. And yeah, like it's interesting. I kind of promised that I'll be buying every single one of these HD 2D titles. I do stress that they're going to start releasing like so many of them.
Yeah, and I still don't remember why you make a promise like that, but okay.
No, like I'll just say from the start, and we'll jump into like the graphics. Like, well, actually, let me hold off on that. So, like, firstly, like, what is this game? So it's a tactical RPG, much more in the vein of like a Final Fantasy Tactics versus like a Fire Emblem. So there's no permadeath. You know, you have a very expansive roster that you can bring in characters and out of characters. So very much more like a Final Fantasy Tactics than a Fire Emblem, which I'm kind of prefer. But like as far as like RPGs go, I actually love tactical RPGs more than turn-based. I played more turn-based, but I love the battle system of tactical RPGs. I just think it's awesome. One thing like I should point out from the start, and I googled this because I kind of had my suspicions that, and I didn't know this, that this is not the same people that developed Octopath Traveler. It's got nothing to do with the people who developed that game, which I kind of must admit, like I don't know why, but I just kind of assumed that they were the same. It was those guys who developed it. It's not at all. It's got nothing to do with them. So Octopath Traveler was developed by Acquire, and they had producers from Square Enix. So like they were pretty heavily involved. I think it was like a dozen people from Square. Whereas this is by ArtDink, and it seems like it's very low oversight from Square. Like it wasn't like producers and art design. So it's quite interesting to me.
What's interesting, sorry, just it's also on the publishing, because this may feed into that. So Nintendo are the worldwide publishers, but I think Square Enix are the publishers in Japan, I think.
Yeah, correct. So like
Yeah.
Nintendo are the publishers as so far as it pertains to the Switch, right? So like it seems like they've funded part of this game with Square Enix, and that's happened with Octopath Traveler, which I think makes sense. If you look at the style of this game, I think it certainly would appeal initially to more Nintendo fans, and I think that strategy worked really well for Octopath. And then they went off and published it everywhere, Octopath. Like it's on, it was on Game Pass. It might still be on Game Pass.
Yeah, I don't think it's hit PlayStation 4 yet, actually.
I think it. Oh,
because
really
I think
sure.
I was reading a comment before, like, "Oh, bring Octopath to PS4."
Oh wow, yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. No, you're right. It isn't on PlayStation. I'm sure it will be eventually, but
Eventually, yeah.
I highly recommend people playing Octopath. It's an awesome game. Different to this is that's a turn-based RPG versus this tactical RPG. But I did have my suspicions that it wasn't the same people based on playing the game. So like I'm fairly early into the game, but just like some stuff that surprised me. It's like this game is so story focused and so heavily story focused. It actually like blew me away. And I was like, is this going to wane a bit? And I checked some of the reviews out briefly without trying to spoil myself. And like, nope, like it's massively like over emphasizing the story. But like strangely enough, like, and I usually, Swinny more so than Mike, like the stories in these RPGs, I'm like, whatever, I don't give a shit, right? I just play through the game. I'm actually kind of digging this story because it like taps into the shit that I like, which is, strategy. Like it's pretty dumb, right? Because you've got like 3 opposing camps. So you've got the very natural order of like rock, scissors, paper. And the story kind of plays out in that environment, like warring factions, enemy of my enemy type of stuff. But I kind of like that political stuff. Like it's clicking with me. And kind of going to the demo, there's a really robust demo for this game. Like I don't understand people who don't play the demo before buying it. Like you can download it right now. You can play, I think, the first 3 chapters and your progress will carry on. So to me, it's just complete no-brainer to play the demo and get the demo. Because if the story doesn't click with you, I would not get this game. Because the story is like crazy how much it emphasizes the story versus like Octopath Traveler, for instance.
Okay.
In terms of the battle system, it's like, very awesome but non-revolutionary tactical style battle system. Very good balance of characters and like abilities, focusing on healing versus like attacking, and the very classic sort of tactical thing of having the higher ground, being able to like take advantage of that, blocking in characters, making their mobility less, picking off like weaker enemies. It's all sort of there. All the kind of traditional stuff you'd see with tactical games. The kind of call out that I do want to make to people is like the graphics. Like part of the reason why I'm gonna get these games is because like the way it looks. I love the way it looks.
Looks sick.
But this game is weird, right? This game is weird. So this game really suffers from dynamic resolution. So Octopath definitely looks better on PC, but it looks great on the Switch, right? It looks awesome. This game suffers way more from dynamic resolution changes. But the problem with that is the game is sort of like, a pseudo 3D, 2D environment with pixel drawn art characters, right? But when the resolutions are like getting cramped down so much, what ends up happening is the Switch is like what I believe is happening is like doing a bilinear filter to expand it out to like a 1080p screen, and the pixel art becomes all blurry. It's almost like, like a SNES emulator that you're putting like a blur effect on. And it's sort of like, dude, this like wrecks the look and feel of the game. And like again, I think, my recommendation, it's certainly noticeable for me. It's not at a threshold where I'm like, oh, it's shit, like I won't play it. Because the gameplay is very smooth, it feels very like lock 60, all that kind of stuff, or lock 30. It just, you don't see frame rate dips or anything like that in this kind of game. But yeah, I do want to flag that to people. And then I would say, like, it's going to come out on PC. If that bothers you, wait till it comes out on PC and play it on PC. Because that will be like a full-on 1080p style game. I can't imagine they're going to patch this, so...
It might take a little bit, though. It's just a heads up, because Octopath did take a little bit as well.
Like, you mean...
come out of
Oh, yeah, time. Yeah. Hell yeah. It took like,
this would
like
work
a year and a bit, yeah.
I feel like it's just perfect for the Switch, though, other than what you just described with the issues.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a shame. And this is what triggered me to
title.
search for, like, who made this game? Because Octopath looks so good. Like, I never had noticed an issue like that in Octopath. Like, a little bit. Like, you go back to the Digital Foundry, and I think it's a bit nitpicking. I would love if Digital Foundry did this game, because, like, I'm really fascinated to see what's going wrong with the graphics. And like I said, my theory is that the resolution is just too low. It's expanding it out, and then, it's just doing a blur effect. I don't know if the Switch is capable of this, but I wish that they just did like a nearest neighbor. So make it all chunky and pixelated. I think it would look better, because the character art, it's so noticeable when it's blurry, when it's pixel art. So, but having said all of that, I'm really enjoying it. I love these style games. I'm just going to park it for the next game that we're going to talk about. So that was it from me.
I have one question.
Yes.
Did you get past the bridge?
So, on that, they've actually changed the way the game works, and it's like you actually have to change a setting for them to not show you the controls. It's like they've made it really large and really clear at all points. So they must have got feedback from people.
They listened to this show. They listened to this show.
They did. Because I was like, why are they constantly telling me how, how like the NES and SNES and N64 emulators on Switch have this is what the controls are. And they've obviously play tested it and found that people just can't exit or can't pause and shit like that. So yeah, like all the way through the game, it's constantly going, this is the controls. Like, and at the bottom, like as an overlay. Like, I'm like, this is crazy. So yeah, it's definitely people like Mike. But
There's dozens
really,
of
really
us idiots. Dozens.
So, I mean, I'll park this game for the next game, and then there's what is it called? I've forgotten. Live Alive. That'll be the next one that in this kind of series almost of games. But that's coming out not too far away, so I better get on it in this game. I think they're saying it's about 30 to 50 hours this game to complete, so it's quite chunky. But let's go to I think honestly, let's be real, our number one most anticipated game of this year amongst the crew here. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah,
totally.
Elden Ring. So it has come out. It is massively hyped game. It's selling like nuts. 2.5 times Horizon Forbidden West. It is exploding. It's the biggest Souls game. It's definitely going to go on to being the biggest selling Souls game, and
literally, figuratively.
Yeah. And
every
Mike,
way.
what do you think of it?
It's okay.
All right, I'm out of here.
It's obviously great. So much like you guys, pretty high anticipation for it, high hopes and everything. It has completely met all my hopes and then some. I love it. It's brilliant. There's just so much good stuff to talk about it. In fact, I can't even really think of anything bad to talk about it if I had to now.
Oh, I can.
Well, okay, the frame rate. But really, in terms of just very high level first impressions, absolutely met everything I thought it would be. Yeah, totally did. What do you feel of it? So just to clarify as well, in case you guys haven't been listening to the previous segments that we talked about, Swinny has a copy of it. He's got the collector's edition
I've got the sword from it.
with
mate.
the sword and everything. However, he hasn't yet played it. Let's not diss him, because I totally get where he's coming from because of Alex.
Diss me for Alex. ELEX.
ELEX.
I'm playing ELEX at the moment.
Call
But
it Alex.
first of all, diss people for not playing a game yet
Damn right.
that's low.
Well,
That's low.
No, but can
Honestly, I
just
feel
say-
like maybe you should be slightly dissed for not playing this game.
No, but I just want to say this is like the most Swinny-ish move ever. Like,
Yes,
I
it
know
is.
how much he's anticipating this game, and then he's like, "Nah, this Eurojank game coming out. I'm gonna play that first."
Between the three of us,
That's
he is
all-
by
I actually think
far
it's awesome.
the
Okay,
biggest Dark Souls player.
Can I just before we get too far away from that, just say I know we talked about ELEX before, but what a bad choice for that release date for
Oh,
ELEX. It is, the game has way less, like, it's basically, anyway, I'll talk about that when I talk about ELEX in future shows, but oh my god, what a bad decision.
Yeah,
for them to
that
have.
one in particular, given I know that you're saying it's not like just a fantasy game, but still, it's kind of like the impression that people have of it. It's crazy. I think the other one is Horizon. Like, what the F?
Bad
Like,
timing again.
Horizon Zero Dawn, they released
Yeah,
it
but
like a week before Breath of the Wild and the launch of the Switch. And then they release Horizon Forbidden West a week before Elden Ring. I'm like,
Well, would they have known that ahead of time?
of course
before
they did.
did
but,
their
like,
own announcement dates.
I get the confidence in it, but like they've been shown to be wrong. Like people aren't talking about Forbidden West anymore, and
Just
it's
like we're not
sold,
talking about Elden Ring
you know,
anymore.
2.5 times less than Elden Ring. But anyway, park that. So
Yeah.
Elden Ring, what is Elden Ring? FromSoft's latest Souls game, but they've taken it into the open world. So like on your point, so all your anticipation, so you're like Dark Souls plus open world, right?
Pretty much, yeah. At a
Yeah.
simplistic level, yeah.
For me, what I love about this game is that I think that if this game was just released by anyone, right? So some random developer just released this game. To me, I think it would be very much like Demon Souls, where people would be like, this game's a bit shit. Like, it's not very balanced. The first boss that you face, like the first enemy, once you get out of the cave, you get killed straight away. It's ridiculous. Like, what I would say is like, you know, FromSoft has earned the right to like make a game that challenges people, and they've taken it and actually run with it and done something that I think is quite unique in gaming, where it's just like, we are going to make a game that's obtuse. We're going to make a game that is like a bit brave at times, but they have the confidence that people have the confidence in them, that they're like, okay, like even I've only played Dark Souls, but you know, I started playing this and I'm like, this game is like kind of weird a little bit at the start, you know, like I kind of felt like I was never really sure of, you know, like, should I be going this direction? Should I be like facing this enemy? You know, Mike and I are playing it roughly blind.
And we've actually gone in different directions, I think.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
Based
massively.
on where we were, I'm like, wow, that
And
went a totally different
I'll
way.
just say I was super interested to hear Integot, considering Dark Souls is the only game from the Soul series. Obviously, there's been quality of life improvements
Yeah.
that they added in not only Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne, but also obviously there's some elements they brought in Sekiro as well. So you haven't had any of those experiences at all.
Yeah.
And so to kind of go straight from Dark Souls, which is clunky. I love Dark Souls, but it's clunky. So to go from that to this, like, would be crazy.
It'd be a crazy jump. I can see the progression, obviously, having played all of the titles, every single one in the series. And it absolutely takes everything that the series has done so far and just refined the hell out of it. But not refined the hell out of it necessarily that, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just taken everything they had and just made it so much better. And it just works as a cohesive experience. Everything throughout the series. And one of the things that I think they did really, really well is the quality of life in this game is amazing. And I'm talking about little tiny, well, there's obviously the quality of life of being able to fast travel pretty much whenever you want, wherever you want, which we can talk about whether that's a good idea or not from a gameplay perspective, but that's your choice. You can do whatever you want.
And that's been in since Dark Souls 2, so.
Yeah, it has. But I mean, I'm talking about it feels a lot more even easier to do it, to the extent that I actually intentionally found myself not using that feature if I don't have to. But it's more little quality of life improvements where, take for example Dark Souls 3, where the weapon arts or the what are now known as the Ashes of War, they were constrained to the particular weapon that he had.
Yeah.
So if you found a shield and it had parry on it, that's it. That's all you got. Whereas with this, and again, I'm wary of spoilers, but I don't think it's a spoiler necessarily. You unlock the ability that you can customize anything to anything. So if you want to take that particular skill and take it from that shield as an example, well, you can't take it from the shield, but you can apply it to a completely different shield. You can apply a particular skill to any of the weapons that you want, which I think is such an awesome quality of life thing, because they're not being assholes about it, where they force you to just play a particular thing, and they always make you in the back of your mind want more, or you're always like, oh, I wish they did this instead. There's very few things in this game where I can go, I wish they did this instead. Everything's like, oh my God, they did it exactly how it should be done. It's freaking awesome. Like, there's no complaints about the way they implemented a particular thing. To the extent that, a really minor little detail, there's an Ashes of War to remove a skill. And you're like, why the hell would you want that? What's the point of doing that? Just don't hit the left trigger then. It's because you can apply it to a shield. So then if you're using a shield, it means you can actually use the Ashes of War on your weapon in your right hand, as opposed to having to dual wield it to be able to use that skill. Like, it's little things like that that are just freaking amazing that they thought that through and gave people that option to make it go, I want to play like this. Oh, great, I can actually play like this. There's no restriction for it. And I just love that. I really love that about it.
Yeah, and well, like, because like I'm about 20 hours in, you're 40, is it, Mike?
Oh, no, I think it's less than that. I was exaggerating. That's probably about 30.
Okay, 30.
30, I don't remember, something like that, yeah.
And this game, like, just the scale of it, like, you know, I've spent a lot of time playing Breath of the Wild, and that's still like a massive game, even in the context of these open world games. But this game just feels insanely massive. Like, we both haven't discovered everything. I'm sort of aware.
I discovered a fraction, I reckon, of what you did, to be honest.
Yeah, well, one thing is, like, and I don't play that many open world games, but my kind of style is I just want to, like, where are the boundaries of the map? I want to go everywhere. Where are the way markers? Where is, like, everything, right?
Very tough to do. Very tough to do in this style of game.
Yeah, well, like, I had to kind of run around or run away or, like, all that kind of stuff. And honestly, it just goes on forever. And then I ended up circling back, going to the southmost of the game. And I spent, like, 10 hours plumbing everything there.
Yeah,
and
that's
I'm
what
like,
I actually did as
dude,
well. Yeah.
honestly, it was, like, maybe 5% or 10%. It would be more like 5% of the map. That I spent 10 hours on doing everything. And I'm like, this game is, like, ridiculous. And, like, one thing I wanted to touch on, Mike, because, you know, I don't want to labor the whole, should this game have an easy mode and all that kind of crap. I feel like a lot of people talk about that stuff. There's probably not much we can add, but to me, as someone who's not, like, super, you know, played all the Souls game, I've beaten Dark Souls and played a bit of Demon Souls. I do want to play Demon Souls after this. But to me, I totally disagree with people where they're coming from on this game. I've heard a lot of people's takes. It's kind of like easier to play Dark Souls because it's just very clear what you need to do. I think it's nuts. Like, to me, if you're wanting to get into the Souls series, to me, I would 100% recommend playing this game first. And as much as you go, a lot of the quality of life won't be there if you go back to Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 1 or Dark Souls 3. But the thing I do find about this game is that it allows you to ease in more versus Dark Souls 1, and you can see this with the trophies, that people hit, like, the first, like, Taurus demon, and it's not like there's, like, 100% of people getting through the Taurus demon. It's like, or like, who's even earlier in Dark Souls 1? I can't even remember.
Well, you got the Asylum Demon.
Yeah, Silent
tutorial.
yeah, maybe, like, a bit further than that, but maybe I'm thinking Taurus demon. But like, like you've got these roadblocks in those games and literally people just don't get past it, right? Whereas this game, I find that, if people aren't quite gelling with it as quickly, like it's actually like a rare game where you can get people to, go and explore, level up, get better
Yeah.
gear, get better armor, get better weapons, get better spirit summonings and, ease into the game a lot more. So like personally, if you're like, I want to try the Souls series, I would 100% say play Elden Ring versus the rest of them for me, because it sort of allows you to get into the combat in the easiest way. Or if you want to go like the brutal route, you can still do that in this game. You can treat it
Yeah.
like a soul, like Dark Souls, right?
Absolutely. I think choice is the key word for this game almost. There's so many things about this that give you choice as a player, how you want to play the game, the weapons you want to use, the type of gameplay, long range, short range. Do you want to go left, right, up, down? I mean, there's clearly, because I think that's part of good game design, a certain sort of path that you should be traveling where you notice straight away no, I'm saying to the extent that straight away that there's a certain part that you're just going to get decimated.
Yeah.
As in one shotted, clearly I'm not supposed to be in this location kind of thing. I'm supposed to come here later. There's nothing stopping you from going there, but you're just going to get completely destroyed. So there are certain parts that I think, and I find this quite interesting from a game design perspective, that it doesn't tell you where to go, but it hints at it in a way that's more organic, because you go to certain places, you're like, okay, this feels like this is where I should be. It feels like the enemies are about, the right amount of difficulty, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Whereas you go to other places, like, this is clearly not well for me. And that organic level of progressive difficulty is freaking awesome. It just feels so natural while playing the game. And if I come across something that is clearly way too hard, then I just go find something else to do somewhere else. And so far, it's insane. It's kind of like Skyrim in that sense. I haven't had a single instance where I go, what should I do next? Yes, I don't know exactly what I need to do next, if that makes sense, but there's always something else to do next.
Yeah, like
So there's never a
like,
time where you go, where the hell am I? I'm stuck. I don't know where to go.
well, like, yeah, there's times where I feel like I don't know necessarily where I'm 100% meant to go to progress the story, like maybe a little bit, but you never feel like you're out of options to do stuff. And
Absolutely not. Yeah, there's always options.
yeah, and like for me personally, and it's a bit like an anti-Ubisoft game in this way, it's very much like no quest lines, no quest markers, no, this is the next thing you need to do.
Oh, there's a vague there is a vague marker. So when you go to a site of grace, which is the new bonfire, and you look at the map, it actually sort of highlights on the map the way the wind blows almost.
Sure.
It's not the way the wind blows, but there's like a tiny, very subtle hint of, hey, if you completely get lost and have no idea where to go, maybe head somewhere in this direction.
Yeah, but that is compared to like Skyrim, which is like, here's a list and it progressively.
Oh yeah,
ticks
it's
it off
totally
for you and
different.
stuff.
I love this.
Having said that, like for me, this game, when I was playing it, and I'm 20 hours in, it really 100% feels like Breath of the Wild plus Dark Souls plus Skyrim.
Yep.
And like in summary, it honestly feels like take the best thing from Breath of the Wild, take the best thing from Dark Souls, take the best thing from Skyrim, and this is this game. And I'm like, I know that's insanely high praise, but quite honestly, like I feel like that's not inaccurate in the 20 hours I played it. It's insane. Like for me to be able to play a game for 20 hours with my schedule and things like that, like how much I'm loving it, right? And I could play it. I've played a lot more.
Yeah, ditto, same. I sunk a lot of hours into it so far, although because of stuff that got in the way, I wish I could have sunk way more, because it's such an engaging game and it's got an amazing sense of exploration that I haven't felt in a lot of games, and that's purely because it's a Dark Souls thing. Because there's unique weapons, because there's unique items, there's unique enemies, there's unique NPCs. You feel rewarded for exploring all the different places. You don't feel like, I'm probably just going to go here and there's not going to be anything interesting, or it's just going to be another variation of exactly the same weapon that I have, but instead of 37 to 39 damage, it's going to do 40 to 41 damage, and it might have a poison effect or something. You know what I mean? Like the typical randomly generated loot. No, this is fixed loot that's unique, that is rewarding, that everywhere you go, every crypt you check, every little obscure jump you do down a ledge or something, you're going to discover something cool that is worth checking out. And it's worth checking out because you can use that thing to try to customize your character a bit. So again, it rewards choice. And I think the cool thing about that is you can continue playing with exactly the same weapon that he had from the start of the game, or one that he found that he used the rest of the game. Or do the way I do it is if I come across a new Ashes of War or something, I experiment with it just to check out what it's like. And then I go, oh, it actually might work better on this kind of weapon style. So I play as all sorts of different characters, all sorts of different combinations, which is freaking amazing. Like it's so hard to almost describe how good this game has implemented that stuff.
And Swinny, were you going to say something? I kind of interrupted you.
No, I was just going to say before you were talking about the map markers or lack of them or everything. The big challenge that I always saw that FromSoft had to face with this was, how do you take that, like the purposefully obtuse design of the Souls games, and work it into an open world game without losing that? So by all accounts, like the way that's such a fine line to walk, and by all accounts, they've done it so well.
They have.
Obviously, I can't say it myself, but that's crazy, because it would have been so easy for them to just follow the open world formula that every other game does. And I know Breath of the Wild also eschewed that as well in a lot of ways, where it's like, okay, I see something on the horizon, I'm going to mark that thing on the horizon, right? That's the way that, honestly, it's just magical how they've managed to do it. And just what I was going to ask Mike, actually, both of you. So how far away from the end do you think you are? How far into the game do you think you are?
Well, no, I can say from my perspective, because PS5 has the activity markers, thing where it kind of tells you how much you progressed in the main story. So for me now, it's saying 25% I'm through the main story. But like in terms of the general game, like I was saying this to Mike, I feel like this is going to be 100 hours for me to get most of the things I want to get. And, like before I kick back to you, Mike, on like what you think and how long you think it's going to be, this is like a rare game where I'm like actually playing it. I'm like, I kind of like, I'm very melee build. I got my Hellbird. Like I don't know. I like that in Dark Souls, and I like that in this game, but I'm like playing it. I'm like, I could totally see myself, and this is crazy for me to say this with the time that I have to play games, but I could see myself playing this game again and being more like a mage or something like that, like doing a lot more of the sorcery stuff, because it's so integrated in this game, and it's really like first class citizen. Like you could totally play the whole game like that. And yeah, I'm just like looking at it going, man, I could play the whole game again, like in a different class.
You still can, to the extent that you can obviously as in I heard. So I'm playing this completely blind.
Not 100%
blind. Well, no, completely blind to the no, I am. No wikis,
legally
no
blind,
nothing.
I'll call it
legally blind, as in I'm not using guides, I'm not using a wiki, I'm not using tips and strategies and stuff like that. I am, and this is one of the first games that I feel I've really properly done this with, because even Skyrim, I think I was probably looking up certain things and certain ways to I don't know, guides on how to get the best crafting or something. Whereas with this, I'm like, nah, screw it. I just want to explore the world. I want to find things out for myself. I'm probably going to screw quest lines up. I don't give a shit. Whatever, who cares? I can, play it again sometime down the track and get the best outcome, because it's one of those games where I legit just I don't need to min-max this game. I just want to enjoy the experience of playing it with no guidance, nothing, no help, no, this is where you get the best items, this is where you farm everything to get the highest level character, blah, blah, blah. I don't want any of that. Which means I have no freaking idea how far I am into the game. I legit don't know. I don't even know how big the map is, because I've never ever looked the map up to see what the full size of the map is. There is a tiny, and again, it's not spoiling or anything, but there are a few places fairly early in the game where you come across something that ends up teleporting you to another part of the map. And even then you're like, where the hell am I? Like, oh shit, the map just increased in size. God damn it. But I have no idea how much more it's going to increase. At the moment, I'm assuming that's the size of the map that I'm seeing, but that's already fooled me once. So it's probably going to be even bigger than that by the time I get through this. So no idea. But one thing in terms of the...
Well, just before you move on, have you been in the first two bosses or just the first boss?
So the first two.
Okay,
first,
so
We're talking like story.
yeah, these
mainline
are
bosses.
the first
obviously
is-
mainline bosses.
Yeah.
first two proper men.
So you're like
mainline
25% like
that-
me then.
It'll be that.
Yeah,
It'll be that. Yeah. But the thing is, obviously, you know, that the way different people must approach, because this is one interesting thing, unlike the previous titles, because of the fact that you can go around and you can do side stuff and you can level up and you can find better spells, weapons, etc. Everyone, I think, is going to have a relatively different experience with these bosses. So, for example, the first major boss that I came across, I didn't really have much of an issue because by that point, I think I had explored a bunch of other places down south where it wasn't quite as difficult. But I can imagine if people, like the game almost hints at, which is to go straight to the boss, because it's kind of where the game is hinting at the very start for you to go to. Oh man, I would have had a much more difficult time. I can see people getting stuck on that boss for a while.
Well, can I just say that? So like, I'm just looking at PSN profiles. So like, just looking at the first boss, right? Only there's still 40% of people that haven't gotten through the first boss.
Wow, interesting.
Like, it's kind of a fascinating
I'm not
game.
surprised. Yeah, I'm actually not surprised
First boss
because
is hard.
you can actually. I've discovered a path. Again, no spoilers. That I think lets you completely circumvent that first boss. Whereby I think you almost don't ever have. Well, don't ever. I don't know. You probably story wise, you probably have to do it eventually.
Yes.
But you can actually completely circumvent that entire boss, and I guess the second boss because of that. Yeah, it'd be the second one as well, I think, where you don't even have to fight them until like at the end of the game or something potentially, which I think is amazing as a concept that you could just do that. You could just keep exploring beyond them. The one thing that's sort of related to the bosses that I think is quite cool is whilst the game is very open world in its nature, of course, because that's the biggest evolution in the series. The actual levels that are, I think what would you call them? I think I heard the term legacy dungeons.
That's the name, yeah.
Yeah,
thrown
legacy
around.
dungeons. Yeah.
They feel like the typical legacy experience of Dark Souls in an amazing way, where you go from this open world to, oh my god, this is Dark Souls. This is quintessential. I've opened a shortcut. I've done this, but even more than Dark Souls because of the verticality. So that the castle that you explore, which I won't say when or what or who, there's so many different you can obscure little things where you go around the corner, you jump on a ledge, because the jump mechanic is amazing. To me, it's such a game changer in a positive way. It feels so free as a character, and you find all these obscure parts where you're like, man, did the developers actually intend me to go here? Or is this glitching? And it's not glitching. It's just really obscure, And I love the fact that they've managed to mix the two, to mix the awesome sense of exploration in an open world with a good classical Dark Souls experience. One amazing experience that I had that I freaking laughed my ass off just because of how Dark Souls-y it felt is I was in a catacomb very much the same as what's in the B-roll right now. And I'm getting chased by these really tough enemies that are brutal in terms of their attack pattern, to the extent that I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to run past because they're freaking annoying. They were chasing after me. I was super low in health, and I see the end of the tunnel almost. I'm about to get to the objective, and I'm in the clear, I'm thinking to myself. And as I'm running through, this shitty little tiny enemy has a swing, you can't see him.
Enemy?
Around the corner, he just jumps at me around the corner from the side and kills me because I had so little health. And I just cracked up laughing because I said, this is you can see it as a frustrating situation, but I saw it as this is quintessential Dark Souls. It's fucking amazing. The placement of that particular enemy was genius. It was so good. The one other quick thing I'd say,
just before you move on, because
yeah.
I just want to add to what you said. So, because Mike and I have been playing it mostly blind, and I was spending so much time in the open world. I'm like, all right, I got to circle back and play the main line, because you were talking about, I won't go into it, but the area you were talking about, and I knew where it was. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back into it. Start playing it. I'm like, these fuckers, man. They've it's literally they've got a Breath of the Wild open world, fully crazy Skyrim-y type thing. And then it's all this fucking Dark Souls stuff as well. The design of these, legacy dungeons. I'm like, this is just as top tier Dark Souls that I've played, at least, internet connectivity, like all the things you can do, areas to explore. I'm like, how the fuck did they make this game 3 years after Sekiro? I'm like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
with the pandemic.
Yeah.
I'm like, have they got like magic? Are they like summoning demons? Like, how is this actually literally possible? I feel like, someday they're gonna have a secret and go, oh no, actually we've got like literally 2 studios internally, and we don't want to tell people. And they're working on these games for like 7 years or 6 years each, but it makes it look like it's like every 3 years.
I was always impressed. I know that they do have like A team and B teams and stuff like that, but I was always super impressed with the release schedule between Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, and Sekiro. Like the timing was not long between each of those games. Now this game is on a whole nother level because of that open world.
Yeah,
it's wild.
Look, there are certain elements that if you actually look carefully, well, you don't even have to look carefully. You can kind of notice it. There is reuse. It's not as
the enemies and stuff. Yeah, definitely.
Well, enemies, but even like the level you're seeing right now in the B-roll, that is a relatively common end of a catacomb slash.
But it's kind of like
which is fine.
They kind of did that with Chalice Dungeons and Bloodborne already.
Yeah,
so...
and look, dude, it's perfectly fine. No,
it's the shrines as well in Breath of the Wild, like
exactly the same sort of thing. It's a variation on the same idea, but we're fine with it because it's done so well.
I think I'll just like back up Mike's point in a way, just because the biggest thing in this game that I'm amazed about is like, and you know how much I love Breath of the Wild. Like it's got to be right up there as one of my favorite Zeldas. But there is even elements of Breath of the Wild I'm like, it feels a bit like copy-paste. And that's always my criticism with open world games, right? It feels like a bit copy and paste. Like this game, I don't know how they made it. It's like, it genuinely feels like organic, how the world is like clashing with each other. Just like you have in a normal like city or area where it's like, why did they build the city like this? It's freaking stupid. It's like, there's a road here. It doesn't make sense. It's like, would have been better if it was a bigger road. And like, the world just feels real and organic. And I've probably spent 15 hours just exploring the world. I'm like, you constantly go to new areas. You're like, what the hell? This is like, how much money do they have in the art design for this game?
And the sheer number of different enemies that you have to face with different attack.
So, but like, my point is that once
nuts.
you get to the catacombs, like, even I'm like, wow, this kind of feels like this other catacomb that I went to. Like, the layout feels almost exactly the same.
It does, but they're different.
That's why it's stark. That's why it's kind of like, I get where people's criticism is. It's more like, because the rest of it is so different.
But it's such a minor criticism.
It doesn't bother me, but I understand what people are saying.
Every game does that, though. Like, especially open
I'm not the one
worlds.
saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying I get where people... It's more like it's stark because it's like nothing feels replicated in the whole game until you get to those points. So it's like...
and there's certain... like, for some of the shacks and stuff, if you look really carefully, you use the same models in the game world and stuff. But it's like really...
Like
I'm not even saying that to nitpick. It's just game design because you have to reuse certain assets as part of a game. But holistically, it's a fucking amazingly handcrafted experience.
But I mean, to wrap it up, Mike, I'm really keen to review this game once we'll play enough of it, maybe finish the game. Like, maybe not when we 100% it, but I don't know. We'll see how we all go with it. But man, what a statement this game is, and what a challenge to this year. And this year, we were always talking about it because we do these games of some other year and look back and go, what's the greatest year of gaming and everything like that. I mean, this year
tough to top
has got like, well, no, because you got like the new Breath of the Wild, like Breath of the Wild 2 coming out, right? Which could be absolutely amazing. God of War coming out as well. Skyrim, Starfield. This game, it's like, man, this year could be like ridiculous because this game is already
ridiculous year.
Don't forget ELEX 2, come on.
Of course, yep.
Yeah, like for me, like I really haven't felt like this about a game since Breath of the Wild. And that was 5 years ago, almost to the day. So, yeah. But hey, one last thing I want to say though is having played this and, like I'm only 20 hours in, but it's a fair chunk. I still would say Dark Souls is more important and overall a kind of better game because it's so tight. But I have a lot more fun playing this game. Like, I know that this game will be ranked higher in my mind in terms of what game do I love more. but I just kind of appreciate Dark Souls for what it kind of has
Yeah,
done
I know what you
for
mean.
the industry and everything
Of course,
like that.
yeah.
So
Yeah. To be completely honest, I don't even think I could, if I had to make a real tier list and include this and include Dark Souls. I would struggle, I reckon. I really would.
oh, that'd be cool. I want to play Dark
It'd be
Souls 3
so
because
hard.
that's the other one that's like
Totally
up there,
worth
but-
doing. It's going to be a bit weird playing 3 and going back to this, because in terms of 3 is a weird in between where I think the level design is great, but it doesn't have the same connecting level design that Dark Souls 1 had, for instance. I felt it was, and Swinny, you can vouch for this too potentially. It felt a lot more disconnected in some ways, the way the world felt.
Yeah, all three of the first 3 Dark Souls games, I should say, not Demon Souls. I can't comment too much on that. They each took a different design approach to how they designed the world, and Dark Souls 3 is the most linear.
Yeah, it's very linear
Oh,
and
really?
very.
I always
it's
thought
al-
that
it's
Dark Souls 2
almost
was
like
not connected.
No, Dark Souls,
No,
Dark,
Dark Souls
Dark
is very
Souls,
connected.
Dark Souls 2 is connected, but nothing compared to number 1. Dark Souls 2 is more like, okay, I'm going to go through to different areas and then going to connect back to other areas, whereas Dark Souls 3, apart from a couple of sections, is almost like straight lines.
And you
Oh,
teleport to the
But-
other areas, basically, kind of like in Demon
but
Souls almost.
I just want to clarify, though, that within each area, though, they have their shortcuts and stuff. It's more like, nothing's like Dark Souls 1. Even
Oh,
Demon
wow.
Souls isn't like
Okay.
Dark Souls 1. Like,
No.
it's more like Dark Souls 1 is the outlier. And
actually, that would be
Sekiro is pretty connected, but I'd say Dark Souls 1 is probably the outlier in terms of design. Bloodborne's probably the closest. So.
Damn, man. I was going to say Bloodborne before you did because I wanted to
That's probably
You're the
that's probably
Bloodborne
the
expert.
closest. That's probably the closest in terms of design to Dark Souls 1. I'd say with its map design.
That's
so.
interesting to know because I feel like I'm spoiled then with Dark Souls 1 because I loved the interconnectivity of
It's-
that. Like
it's
as
a
you
bit
unravel
spoiled,
it all,
yeah.
it feels like a traditional Japanese puzzle, you know, where it's like everything's so intricately connected, and then later you're like, holy shit, this is the same area goes up to Fire Link Shrine.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? Like,
It's
this
not
is
quite
mind-blowing.
as.
I didn't know that
I mean,
the rest of the games aren't like that. Okay.
Number
Not
3
really, no.
has it to some extent,
Yeah.
as in you can look in the distance and you go, oh yeah, that's where that particular thing is.
Yeah.
But you can't really get to it on foot.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if I recall correctly, you know what I mean?
Well, an
Like,
example
parts
would be,
you can't.
I don't want to drag on too much. An example is you look down and you see these towers in these trees, and then as you go down and you progress into another area, you're then down in that lower area, and then you're like, okay, I can unlock a shortcut that's going to take me back
Yeah.
higher again, but it's not on the level of Dark Souls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not.
So getting back to Elden Ring, like for
Yeah,
me, two things, and then I'll throw to you, Mike. Like one for me is like, it's not whether this game is great or not. Like the conversation for me is like, you know, go through, finish it, do all that stuff. And like, and I said this to Mike, I think this might be a game that I actually try to platinum. I love it so much. It's like Breath of the Wild. I went
Damn.
nuts with Breath of the Wild and collected every weapon, every armor. Dude, I upgraded every armor. I don't even know why I'm doing it. It's not like an achievement or anything, but I just love the game so
Personal
much. I'm so
achievement.
passionate
Yeah.
about it, right? But I kind of feel like that about this game. And for me, the question is more like how great is this game compared to other games of all time? And I feel
I
like that's a
just-
conversation that's like a year or 2 or 3 away from
Yeah,
me
of course,
personally.
yeah. In hindsight, I think we
Yeah,
need to look
but,
at it. But
it's right up there, man. Like, it's the same feeling of when I played like Super Metroid, Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild. Like,
So it
it's
means-
just so
so-
good, man.
Oh, damn it. I was going to say, that means it sucks. And
totally sucks.
And
Horrible
the
game.
last thing I wanted to say before throwing to you, Mike, to wrap it up is like, I'm so like keen for Swinny to play this game. Like, and I don't care when you play it, Swinny. Like, you do you, but
So much. I wanna
like,
talk about.
it's you know, it's the vicarious thing. It's like
no, yeah.
I have like I've already played it, so it's like I've popped that bubble. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, and it's such an amazing achievement. These guys, you gotta like, you know, clap to them. Like, it's freaking insane that they made a game this ambitious.
Brilliant
And
game.
I'm just
And
super
pulled it
pumped.
off.
And super pumped for Swinny to play it. I can't wait to see if I'm almost like excited if he doesn't like it because it's like I just want to see a different opinion on it.
if it's got elements of Breath of the Wild,
Oh, hey, but no weapon durability. So look at that.
that is true. See, another quality of life thing. That's what I mean. This game is just full of quality of life things. No weapon durability, which is brilliant. No stamina consumption if you're just sprinting and jumping.
I like that. Yeah.
Without enemies around and stuff, or if you're not in combat. Little things like that where you're like, man, It makes so much sense. I'm so glad they just went, you know what? We're not going to be assholes to players. The game is difficult enough.
Just makes sense.
It's hard enough to play as is. It's challenging as is. We don't need to just be dickheads about it. So it's brilliant. One last thing I'll say, which I think maybe you had a similar experience to me, integot, is I started playing the game as the wretch, I believe it is. That level 1, completely naked, and
no armor,
no armor,
the hard
nothing.
mode of a game that's hard.
Well, it definitely felt, especially at the start, like it is a hard mode. Absolutely.
The starting classes are pretty OP compared to other Souls games.
Oh yeah, like look. Comparing to the starting classes now, I'm thinking, man, that seems so much easier.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a weapon that took me ages to find right at the start with one of the other classes. The thing is, I think in a game like this, it makes perfect sense to do something like that. Because it's the same as Breath of the Wild, it's the same as Skyrim, it's the same as a lot of those games where you start from scratch, where you have nothing. Where I literally had to find pants. I did not have any pants in the game. And it was an achievement. It was an amazing achievement just to find a goddamn pair of pants. And the little stories it creates, because I found my first chest armor on this enemy that was by, again, no spoilers or anything. It was an enemy camping by a fire on the beach.
Bloody words.
Because it's so hard to tread that line.
Thing.
So just it was nighttime, and I snuck up to this guy, and I had this epic battle on a beach because it was a relatively hard enemy for my shitty naked self with a club.
Yep.
And then he dropped, I don't know if he always drops that or it just happens to be good luck. He dropped a piece of armor that I'm still using after 30 hours. But that experience that it created of that a lot of players wouldn't necessarily have, because a lot of players might go, they're fully geared and they're like, yeah, whatever, just another enemy. But to me, it was like, this guy, it's such an awesome experience to have that. So anyway, amazing game.
I'll disagree with you. I think you do you play however you want.
Well, exactly. Everyone gets to play differently, which is so cool about it.
The game is very open, so probably whatever playstyle you play naturally in these kind of games, just play that starting class, and then you can deviate if you enjoy something in the game.
Yeah, and it's only the starting classes, like with everything. I'm relatively certain you can respec. I haven't come across it or anything like that, but I'd be surprised if you can't. Because I think the previous game had it, and given all the other quality of life stuff in this game, it would blow me away if you can't respec in this game.
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
So yeah.
But yeah, look, like 2 thumbs up for me, 2 thumbs up for you, Mike.
I had more thumbs. I wish I had more thumbs so I could give this game 4 thumbs up.
Like, I think we'll need to think of the whole game of the year thing at the end of the year, because I feel like this game is going to like sweep it. One thing we didn't mention at all. I mean, we've been so positive of the game. I mean, like the performance issues are really
yeah.
Like, I can't believe we haven't mentioned it, but because I guess we're not trying to be negative about it. But like on PC, it's like, do not buy this on PC. It seems to be like what most people are saying. Like, I got the PS4 version specifically because I wanted to play the backwards compatibility version on the PS5, but I still found it to be like not 100% locked in at 60. So it just said, stuff, I'll just upgrade it to the PS5 version. And it seems like out of all of us, Swinny might have like a sort of niche optimal way, because
almost by chance,
but by accident, yeah. Because you've got the LG C1, is it?
I think it's C1, yeah. The 2021 model of the LG OLED.
Yeah. So you got like the new HDMI 2.1 spec where it's you can do variable refresh rate, like I can do with my PC monitor, but you can do that with your Series X. The PS5 doesn't do variable refresh rate like that, and you know, people who are playing it on that whole setup feel like it's very smooth. So that might be, but it's weird because still the Series X version is like on average a couple of, if not up to 5 to 7 frames lower than PS5.
I'm not going to enjoy the bigger load times, but still the load times will probably still be better than the traditional Dark Souls load times from the older games. So.
Well, you know that
they're
though.
Quick.
No, I find it too long. I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like I thought this generation is no load. Get on with it. Like it's pissing me off,
dude. We're talking about like 2-3 seconds.
Ratchet and Clank is just like instant. It's like you're straight into the level.
Yeah, but it's people don't freak out. It's really really short load time.
But it's
like
pretty long on Series X. It's like 15 seconds or something. Like 20 seconds.
But compared to like, look, trust me, I'm okay with that because it's fine. As as I said, like that's probably going to be the most annoying thing.
Yeah,
so.
I think we had to mention that because like
Totally,
I
yeah.
100% noticed
worth
the
mentioning, yeah.
the dips and stuff like that, and I honestly don't think they'll ever fix it. Like I just generally don't think they're gonna fix it. And you know what? Like
Probably not.
the game does not look as good
Well,
as Demon Souls.
They never
remake.
they never completely fixed Blighttown, which was probably the worst technical thing they've ever done in
Yeah,
a
Integot.
Souls game.
Yeah.
Dude, Integot, you think that's bad? Oh my god, try playing the original game
Blighttown,
in
yeah,
Blighttown in the original version of
Yeah,
it.
because it's like
Jesus
6 or 7 frames per second or
Christ.
something. right?
PS3 was dropping below 10 at times. Xbox
Yeah.
dropped down like 12.
Yeah. But you know what? It didn't really, like, it was
awesome.
annoying and it was shit and it sucked, especially because Blighttown. I know you love Blighttown, Swinny. I freaking hated it.
the
It was
funny-
depressing and I couldn't wait to get out of it.
The funny part, it gave Blighttown such a reputation
Yes, yeah,
alongside
yeah,
the
yeah.
fact that it's Blighttown.
Yeah.
I remember hearing,
Man, it's so much
before I
worse.
got up to there and everyone's like, oh my God, Blighttown, oh my God, Blighttown.
Dude, that was what I was like because I played Dark Souls only recently, right? So when I got up to there, I was like, Blighttown. I felt like I was going to Disneyland. I was like, I know about this place. It's famous. And then
all
I actually
about
got
you.
through it all. And I'm like, okay, that's like not
Wasn't
too
so
bad. It wasn't the hardest area.
Yeah, because you played it at 60 frames, not
Yeah, correct. Or 30 or whatever it is. Yeah. So I didn't really experience the real Blighttown, thankfully. But yeah, look, Elden Ring, amazing game. Can't wait to when he plays it. Gonna be very hard to knock off. Like I have to say, Breath of the Wild 2 is anything like Breath of the Wild 1. Fuck, it's gonna be difficult for me to like go. Which one do I like more? I might not be able to decide.
We'll see
so.
what happens. I'm the only thing that I'm worried about Elden Ring is what the hell game can top this now for me. It just feels so good to me as a
Yeah.
game. It's everything I've wanted in this kind of a game that, man, any other game I'll play, I'm like, I wish it did it this way, like Elden Ring did, or I wish it had this, or I wish the exploration was more like this, or I wish I had this choice or something. I don't know. It's going to be really annoying. Other
Yeah.
than I'm hoping Starfield or something will.
It's really annoying that I'm playing the greatest game I've
It
ever played.
is, because it's all downhill from here. It's like dating Cindy Crawford. You know, you just what
do
the
get
hell is
that.
that? You can't do anything. Your whole life is just pointless.
Jesus.
Might as well kill
No,
yourself.
but I do get that. It's like because I love Breath of the Wild so much, and I like waited so long to finish that game because I was like, oh, I don't want to finish it because then it's like there's no more to it. It's done. Like there's nothing left. I'm like, what am I going to do with my life?
I've been brought up on a healthy diet of B games and A
true.
games and everything in between. So I think I think I'll be fine.
You're
You'll be
literally
alright.
choosing to play ELEX too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so awesome.
Well, he's doing it the right way. He's saving the best for last. So
Cool. All right. Well, let's wrap that up. So next week we will loop back and talk about Chrono Trigger, which I beat now like a month and a bit ago. So I'll need to like watch a story refresher or something.
I am looking forward to talking about Chrono Trigger. So.
Yeah, and look, I got to be upfront. I haven't even spoken to you about this, Swinny. Like, I think Earthbound will have to hold off until I get around to it and beat it. There's no way we can talk about it if I don't beat it.
That's fine. No,
Yeah, cool.
same.
So it's going to take some time, but I'm going to play it on the Switch now that it's available on the Switch, which was really cool news.
Cool.
But that's it for this week. Welcome back. We should go back to our normal schedule, hopefully, weekly. We'll see. And with that, bye-bye.
See ya.
adios.